Welcome back, everybody. Oh, I didn't know if you were trying to get my attention. You're just batting a fly away or something. Okay, we are getting ready to do our last session. It's called the Value of SelfCare. I mean, I try to make this stuff really, really simple. I think we've all kind of been scratching that surface since we got here, right? Yeah. Okay, before I get started, I just want to reiterate a little bit about mindfulness. Mindfulness really has to do with being aware of yourself. I titled this Mindful Matters because for a couple of reasons. It matters how you're doing. It matters how you're feeling. It matters what's going on inside of you. And being present, it really matters. Unfortunately, I found out the hard way that I missed a lot of years, a lot of moments. I missed friendship. I missed connection. I missed real healthy intimacy with friends, family members, coworkers, because I was checked out in my mind. But today, I check in. I check in with people. I'm present. I can look you in the eyes. You can tell who I am. I'm congruent. My insides match my outsides. Okay, if I was not having a good day, you'd be able to tell. You know what I'm saying? Some people are better at being stoic, where you can't really tell what's going on with them. Those people frustrate me. Okay? If I can't tell what's going on with you, it's frustrating. You know? My tribe, you guys ever hear your vibe attracts your tribe? Your vibe attracts your tribe. My vibe attracts my tribe, straight up. Those of you who are willing to be raw, genuine, authentic, you're my people. I, for too many years, put on a mask. That phrase is not the same anymore because of, it's just not the same anymore.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, man.
To use costume, okay?
Yeah. For years, I was put on an act.
There you go.
All right, yes. So I was inauthentic. I tried to paint a picture of who I wanted you to see. Everything's cool. Don't look at me. I'm good. How you doing? Fine. Now, when people ask me that, I have to really think, how am I doing? I want to vomit when I hear, good, good, how are you? Are you serious right now? We just survived a global pandemic. And you're going to tell me, good, good, how are you? Good. Blech. Occasionally, I will answer that because I really feel good. But you can tell it in my tone. You can tell it when I'm like, you know what? I feel stinking good today. And I might even tell you why. I had a really healthy breakfast this morning that was weighed and measured. Pineapple, blueberries, eggs. Perfect brain combination. Anti-inflammatory stimulants. Yeah, let's go with some coffee and water. Those are little nuggets, but that's part of why I'm well. I strategically planned for a healthy 8 hours of sleep before today so I could give you my best. Mindfulness matters. Being mindful of other people, getting out of our own heads, it really matters. Are there any isolators in the room? Anybody like to isolate? Okay, thank you for your honesty. I learned through my process of healing that I was more of an introvert than I realized. Because people that see me and sort of know me think Layla's a people person. I realized Layla's a hider. Okay? When I'm used to my default, I'm a hider. I grew up running away. Remember I told you? I grew up having trees for boyfriends. That's weird. Okay? I had a really wild fantasy life. Guess what? I went to college to be interior designer, went to school for architecture. So I got paid to dream things up for people that they couldn't even see. I started making money with fantasy. I mean, that sounds weird, but I have a healthy imagination. I've learned to get it under control a little bit. And God's used that as a creative gifting, right? So I went to school for interior design, started dreaming up these things and helping people see they couldn't, and make money at it. I was like, God, you're funny. That's awesome. Because it was a child numbing mechanism that I learned to make money with. Today, Grace Revealed is about interior design for the soul. Getting things in order in here. Interior design for what's going on in here. Sometimes people don't want to be seen. Ever meet anybody like that? How you doing? Fine, how are you? And then there's other people that will let you see them. Your stance says, hey, I'm willing to be seen. An openness. I love this because everyone in this room, I feel like you're willing to be seen. I can tell. You're willing to let yourself be seen. This is so important. Okay. Session 3, the value of self-care. So part of what I'm going to do in this last session is I'm going to give you all I got, I assure you. I'm going to talk a little bit about, I'm going to go a little bit deeper. I'm going to offer some tools to really try to probe you to think a little bit about what you're really doing to yourself or for yourself. Does that make sense? We kind of know the difference. We don't always take time to articulate things that I do to myself or for myself. I wanted to set myself up for success, so I planned what I was going to eat. I planned my lunch. You know, sometimes I get really excited because I feel like sharing up here is such a gift, you guys, because I'm alive. I'm alive. I can hold my own body up with my own 2 feet. I could not always say that. Okay? Okay, so the value of self-care, your true self. By show of hands, I want to ask, can you tell when you see someone that's comfortable in their own skin? Have you been able to tell that? Kids are telling. Do you know what I'm talking about? Does that make sense? Maybe another question would be, let's say on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being like, 5 being like, oh yeah. How well do you know yourself? Like, I'm my true self. 1 to 5. Anybody willing to answer? 3, 5. Anybody? 5, 3, 5, 4, 1. Okay. Oh, yeah, it was hard to tell with your pen in your hand. Okay. Yeah, so my true self, part of the healing journey was getting to know my authentic self. I realized in my, probably young 20s, especially around women, because I grew up with 7 sisters. That's a lot of estrogen to be around. Okay, there's a lot of women. Oh man, I lost my train of thought. How well do I know myself? So growing up, naturally I would make female friends, right? So I had some guy friends, some girlfriends. But when I was asked what I liked, I was definitely a chameleon, meaning I would just watch what other people were doing and try to fit in. Okay? I would just be like, oh, I think she's cool. I want to do what she's doing. I want to sound like her, look like her, because she has it going on. Not having a clue what's really going on with her. I just was judging her and wanted to fit in because I often did not feel comfortable in my own skin. because of how I grew up. So I learned through my process of mourning my life as I knew it as a perfectionist, workaholic performer, right? I got rewarded for performing. I had to ask myself, how well do I know myself? And I encourage you to write that down. How well do I know myself? How well do I know myself? I believe as adults, we're in a process of getting to know ourselves all the time. I'll never forget when somebody asked me, what's your favorite color? And I was like looking around, and I thought, I'm actually not sure, because I was so used to trying to mimic other people. A simple thing as what's your favorite fill in the blank is ways we get to know each other. I traveled to France once. And in France, if you've ever been, they eat a lot of cheese. Okay? They had cheese at every meal when I went to France. And they have stanky cheese, goat cheese. Like their cheese smelled foul to me. And I think I was 17 when I went to France. Okay? I'm boring cheese person, okay? Like American cheese slices, orange or white. I don't even know if that stuff is real cheese. Velveeta, is that even real cheese? I don't know. Okay. What is Gouda? Do we have any cheeseologists in the room? Fancy cheese people, cheese and wine. Okay. Okay, all right. It's a real thing. I'm not poo-pooing it. I'm just recognizing that was an obvious one for me. They're like, oh, do you like cheese? And I was like, yeah, I like cheese, because I thought American, provolone occasionally, you know. Swiss was disgusting because it smelled bad to me. Okay? And then I get to France and holy sensory overload with the cheese. Okay? So when I was there, I was taught that you eat what's put before you. And I thought, oh God, this is weird. They have cheese with mold on it, special mold on that cheese. Do you guys, anybody know what I'm talking about? Blue cheese, but they have like special mold on the cheese. Yes, yeah, there's like this whole like dynamic of stuff we don't know about cheese. Like I didn't know, admittedly, so ignorant. I'm like, bonjour, je m'appelle Layla. Est-ce que tu parles un peu le français? But I'm scared to say anything else in French because I'm afraid you're going to judge me and I'm not going to be perfect. It was a painful trip. Guess what? I ate so much stanky cheese, I craved it when I came back to the States. I was like, cheese here is terrible. It's boring. I can't even believe I used to think American cheese was good. Okay? So I'm using that story as a small example about what we think about things. I used to think self-care was fancy hairdo and pedicures. That's not true at all, okay? That's called grooming. Okay? Take a shower. It's called grooming. It's great. It's not the same as self-care. It's not taking care of your interior. Oh, excuse me. In my former fantasy, I wanted to be a stand-up comic, but I stumble over my words sometimes, but I love seeing people laugh, and I just have to laugh at myself sometimes with the cheese, because every now and then I'm like, man, we just don't have the same stanky cheese around here, you know? Oh my goodness. Goat cheese, it's actually really good. But I want to use that paradigm shift. Do you hear the shift in my mind? I didn't know much about cheese. Like, I thought, what's the orange and white cheese? What is that one called? Colby Jack? I thought that was fancy. Like, that was my idea of fancy cheese. Like, we grew up on government, like, I'm from a big family, right? Like, we didn't have options. Like, that orange and white together was fancy. Cheese is expensive if you get the fancy kind. All right? This is just one simple example. But self-care, I want to encourage you, is like that. If you are willing to see it as costly, as important, as effective, when you may not have ever tried cheese with mold on it before. So I encourage you to kind of bend your mind a little bit to hear some of the other tools that I'm going to drop into the rest of this workshop to maybe say, I've never tried that before. I think I can try that. Anybody have some of those already that I gave, that we talked about this week or this day? Anybody have something written down they're willing to try they've never tried before yet? What is it? Are you willing? The breathing, box breathing. Yeah.
Well, I find myself when I get stressed,
Mm-hmm.
if I have an ache or pain,
Mm-hmm.
I hold my breath.
Mm.
And a couple of years ago, I was at a little thing for the ladies, and she said the whole thing is just breathe.
Yes.
And I said that was huge to me. We were away a couple of weeks ago with a relative. She actually has an alarm on her phone to tell me to breathe. And I'm thinking that's a good idea.
Could you guys hear what she said?
It's dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, that we
Just
don't really breathe right.
Yes. So I hate exercise, right? I value exercise. I know it's important. But I am not an exercise guru. I hate it. I don't even like spending money on exercise clothes because I don't want to wear them. I don't like exercise. I don't like sweating. I've been paid to use my brain over the years, not my body. I'm not like a physical exercise person, but I value it. So once a week, I do have a trainer, and I do mobility exercises with a kettlebell. And it is an unruly piece of equipment. If you don't know how to use it, it's very unsafe. If you're trained, like my trainer started with me with a very small one, and said, it doesn't matter how many reps, you have to learn how to control the piece of equipment. Now I lift almost a 50-pound kettlebell, and I wield it like it is a child. And it is a heavy steel weight kettlebell. And so I do it because I want strength and I want to age well, but I also want to stay mobile. I want to build a defense mechanism in me against injury, from twisting, turning, bending. So the reason I'm sharing that, because it's part of self-care. I value my body for the long run. It's really hard for me. I announced to my trainer, I'm going to do this and I'm going to complain about it, but I'm going to thank you later. I'm going to thank you. I'm grateful. I hate this, and I'm going to be complaining. The reason I'm sharing this with you, part of the healthy high in exercise, I found myself breathing. And I breathe in and I do these. That's happening when I exercise, when I have to lift this heavy thing, when I have to swing it, when I have to lift it and squat with it. I find myself, and I'm getting an extra amount of oxygen flowing through my body. And I truly believe, I'm no doctor, but that has part of the healthy aftermath of me working out once a week, okay? Once a week is my commitment. I do walk, I value walking, but I also have to be careful not to overdo it because I was once a stress addict and I like to push myself too hard. So I do a half an hour of these kettlebell exercises, and I'm stronger than I look. Mentally and physically. All right. Am I congruent? Am I congruent? And I really encourage you to ask yourself this throughout the day, throughout the weeks, when you check in with yourself. Do my insides match my outsides? Am I letting people see me? Whether they deserve to see me or not, am I being authentic with myself? Am I being congruent? I never knew what that word meant, congruent. It's not a word we use every day. Anybody use that in a regular? Congruent? What was that one?
It's like a mathematical word.
Ah, math.
Geometry or something like that.
Yes. I love math. I'm artsy, but I love math. Yes, it is a math word. Is that what you're going to say too? Oh, okay. Congruent means that our insides match our outsides. I will never forget, I started going to these, they were small group meetings for adult children of alcoholics or dysfunctional families. Anybody ever hear of ACA, the 12-step? One of the things that qualifies you to be there is addicted to excitement. I was addicted to excitement. I didn't even know it. I was kind of a drama queen. You know, I would create drama in my family of origin because I didn't want people to know I was hurting. You know, I'd be like, oh my God, can you believe what happened today? Oh my God. Bleh. Anybody know any drama queens or kings out there? Drama fests? I avoid drama like the plague these days. And unfortunately, I have to admit to you, I used to stir up drama because I didn't want you to see that I was hurting. I didn't want you to see that I was afraid. I didn't want you to know what was really going on in my mind. But let me tell you, the more congruent I become, the more comfortable I am in my own skin. And you know what? It's contagious. It helps other people's walls come down so that they can be their true selves with you or with us. It's wild to see the more I face myself and am congruent and let you see me, what's going on with me, you'll see that my insides match my outsides, good, bad, or indifferent. Did I share with you guys that I'm from New York? I'm from New York, okay? I have a New Yorker in me that I can't shut off sometimes. She's aggressive, she has a heavy foot on the road. She gets ugly sometimes. She's like, if she can't get her own way. Like, I'm like, whoa, settle down, New York. Like, we're in the South now, we're not in a hurry. Like, sometimes I feel like I'm in a hurry for no reason. Like, I'm trying to like beat people on the road like it's a game. It's like, settle down, New York, okay? But that's who I am. I wish I could change that sometimes. That's why I moved down here, a slower pace, sunshine, people that aren't in a hurry. In New York, people that aren't in a hurry get run over. Legitimately. I'm serious. It's a real thing. They have like extra bumpers on taxis in New York. Like if you've been to one, I laughed when they started making Priuses for a taxi. It's like, how are they gonna deal with the bumps and like, you know, it's like real bumper cars. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Anybody else from New York? Jersey. Okay, Jersey, thank you for your honesty. It's a real thing. It's really close to New York City. Why am I telling you that? Because I want you to see me. There has been a remarkable amount of healing in my brain and in my body to be present with someone and not be on to the next thing. Okay, what are we gonna do? Okay, what's happening afterward? Okay, I got my lunch ready, I'm gonna do this. Okay, somebody needs to meet with me. Okay, da-da-da, you know, like, you meet people like that? That's intoxicating and stressful to be around those people. Unfortunately, you guys, I used to be that person. And now here I am, a complete cheerleader for chilling out, letting yourself off the hook. You don't have to be in a hurry. But sometimes my DNA, my New York DNA, reminds me of why it's so important to be present with another person, to know that they are going through something. They may be beating themselves up for being too slow or not being in a hurry, you never know. And one of the things when I became willing to go to any length to be well, I was willing to go to any length to be well. Because if I didn't, my life depended on it. I want to encourage you that it's okay to like what you like. It's okay to be who you are. It's okay to see your own strengths and weaknesses. It's okay. That who you are brings such a dynamic to the people around you. Your very presence shifts an atmosphere. Who you are literally shifts an atmosphere. It's so important. You are so important. Your life and you being here is so important. The gifts and talents in each of you, I can tell some of them have been dormant for a long time, and they have yet to be welcomed back to life. Some of you have gifts and talents that make you come alive, that maybe you've forgotten about. When I was 7 years old, something in me knew I was a teacher. I had a little book, and I had trees. There they were again. These were shrubs. They were my audience. Me and the trees. I'm really outdoorsy, believe it or not. I can look like a priss. I can be a priss sometimes, but I love to get dirty, build fires. Like, I'm a little more outdoorsy than I might look like. I was doing some purging in my closet recently, and I came across a camo t-shirt. I was like, I cannot throw this camo out. I don't know when I might need camo. Who thinks like that? I do. So I'm around 7 years old, and there's something in me that says, you're a teacher. You need to teach to these trees. Where would that come from? I don't know. I don't know. But I do know that I come alive when I have an opportunity to teach on something that I'm passionate about. My hopes is to build credibility here today, that if you didn't know part of my story, you know me better. You know that I want to help you. You know that me being alive is on purpose. But being able to articulate that in a way that's palatable, that's even silly and fun, that you'll leave here and be like, breath of fresh air. I needed that. I needed even just one nugget or a few. Or maybe it'll hit you later and be like, oh my God, that was really funny. I need some stinky cheese. I don't know. What will it cost you to be yourself? What will it cost you to be yourself? I've made some really stinky decisions in my life, and I've hurt people. I don't love that. But before I moved down here, I knew in my heart of hearts I wanted closure with people I had hurt. I wanted closure. And sometimes that was something I could control, and sometimes it wasn't. But I'll tell you what it looked like. It looked like really awkward, uncomfortable conversations with people. I prayed this weird prayer and I said, God, would you show me how I hurt this person? Because you ever get near somebody and you feel like the stank vibe? You know, like you used to be friends, you're like, don't even talk to me. You're going to ask me how I am and I know you don't care. Like, you know, you just feel that tension. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, I don't know if I really want peace with those people. But if you ever had an awkward conversation, you're like, you know what? Remember that time? Could even be years ago. Remember that time? And I just really was not comfortable with telling you the truth, and I lied to you because I was afraid of what you'd think. And I have been bearing the shame of that. Would you forgive me for being a lying jerk? I had those conversations with people. And they're like, I forgot about that, but can I share how I felt? And I'm like, yeah, would you please share how you felt about that? And let me tell you, the healing and the relief I felt in my body brought wholeness to that relationship and gave me a peace in my body I hadn't felt in a long time. We had a conversation, Charlene and Harry and I, on the break about forgiveness. It's not a trendy word. It's not something we really talk about. It's kind of churchy. You know, sometimes people think of forgiveness or unforgiveness like a religious thing. It's a real thing that any human can do. Kids do it. I told you I worked at a little VBS type thing last night, work with these kids. Little boys, ooh, little devils, walk up behind somebody, smack somebody. I said, you need to look him in the face and you need to apologize to him. And the other one had to sit there and choose if he was willing to forgive the other kid. I was like, that was nasty. I don't care if you're friends or not. You owe him an apology. I did not move. Ooh, my mama jeans came out. I was like, Because little kids know how to extend forgiveness. And they know how to withhold it. What happens to us as adults? You ever have some buried unforgiveness that doesn't have a chance to come out? I just want to encourage you. Wow, sometimes that can block us from experiencing some healing. And we don't even recognize sometimes that as being a secret, as being something kind of like undealt with. So I don't mean to put like Harry and Charlene on the spot, but they were welcome to talk with people. They've done extensive training and equipping and kind of walking people through prayer if you want it. And even just sharing their own journey of forgiveness and how that's affected their healing process. So you're welcome to connect with them afterward. Joyce is also another good resource at helping people walk through that, because it's not something that we do alone. Forgiveness is only a word because of other humans. Okay? Can you offer yourself some forgiveness? Yeah, that's important. That was a big piece of my journey because I was critical of myself for being critical, right? And extending forgiveness to myself was a gift to learn how to do that.
That can be much harder than forgiving someone else.
Ooh.
Yourself is very tough.
Yes. Yeah. Anybody willing to say if they feel like they could use some forgiveness to forgive themselves for some things? I'm just curious. Yeah. I know, we just mess up sometimes. We're like little kids, you know? It's okay to mess up sometimes. It's a real teacher in setting us free to face. Yeah, we mess up. It's how we learn. Anybody ever see those t-shirts out there like, God bless this mess? I think that's like tattooed on my soul somewhere. Like, oh, Lord, help me. Anyway, last bullet on here. So some questions I wrote down. How well do I know myself? How well do others know me? How well do others know me? That's part of being congruent. And then a real honest question, a gut level question to maybe consider asking yourself, do you want to be true to yourself? Do you want to be true to yourself? Do you want others to see you? For a long time, I would be like, oh yeah, I want people to see how authentic I, oh yeah, I want to be true to myself, yeah. but my actions were like, don't look at me, don't really know what's going on with me, thank you, I'm fine. So a gut level question is, are those things I just asked? Do I want to be true to myself? Do I want to say, I'm broken, I'm exhausted, I literally don't know how to feel better? And to free yourself, give yourself permission. I am literally giving you permission to ask for help. You can ask me for help. But there's a lot of freedom in that surrender. All right, this one's kind of a weird question, but not really. I almost didn't even want to talk about it. What am I worth? What am I worth? Do you know how much you're worth? Anybody? Do you know how much you're worth? Do you know how valuable you are? Do you know how meaningful your life is? It's hard to fathom. I was joking with the Grace Revealed team earlier when we were getting ready that I'm wearing a crown that's invisible. I used to really dislike myself a lot. I used to carry around a lot of shame, a lot of anxiety. I was very, my mind was really good at traveling, so I'd beat myself up for the past and fret about the future and had such a hard time being present. What am I worth? I want you to really ask yourself that question. I want you to think on it, even if you need to take some time, maybe like a 5-minute meditation in quiet, and say, what am I worth? Am I willing to put my needs first to really, I think the fact that you even chose to show up today is awesome. Like there's this like mini cheerleading squad inside me that's like, oh my gosh, they're showing up for themselves. This is so important. It's so important. You're giving yourself a gift just to hear and to be willing to participate and share. This is a gift to all of us. You're a gift. 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 You're precious. You're valuable. You're lovely. Your life, it matters so much. Everything that you bring to the table. Everything. Everything. It's not a question we can answer today. But I do want you to think about it. And I am going to speak some value into you. Because I don't care how good your parents were. We all have an inner child that needs to hear we are valuable, we are loved beyond measure, and we are so worth investing time into and listening to our bodies. Being willing to share. Okay. Into some more tools, and then we're going to wrap up here. So self-care check-in, the opposite of checking out is checking in. Okay? Sometimes I find myself still getting tempted to this day, and I practice mindfulness a lot. But sometimes I am somewhere and want to be somewhere else. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Sometimes I'm somewhere and I start checking out because I want to be somewhere else. It's okay. I have tools for this. But the opposite of checking out is checking in. So again, I'm a research junkie, and this is probably one of the best basic self-care list of questions that I found. I also put this is just a tool for you if you want to take one and pass it. It's a self-care like checklist that you can take home with you, and you can use it. There's a lot of questions, so it's not like a once, but it could just be your mind would be attracted to one question in there, and you can check in with yourself. But I wanted to give you something to take home. But healthy food choices, hydration, bathing, outreach, and silence. Okay, so I kind of took the probably the core ones out of here. So it says, have you eaten today in the last 3 hours? Anybody ever hear of HALT? Hungry, angry, lonely, tired? The principle is do not get too hungry, too angry, too lonely, or too tired, because as humans, we all get ugly if we are too hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. Okay? So don't get too hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. But have you eaten today? Have you eaten in the last 3 hours? Are you hydrated? You guys saw me hydrating. Have you stretched or moved your body? Have you taken a moment to breathe deeply? Yes, winning. We are all in this room have done that today. Number 4, have you taken a moment to breathe deeply? Number 5, did you sleep for at least 7 hours last night? Yes, I did. Have you showered, washed your face, or brushed your teeth in the last 24 hours? Have you reached out to friends or family today? This is probably more of an important question than we can possibly give merit to. Believe it or not, this is a daily practice that aids in mental, emotional, spiritual well-being. Picking up the phone and reaching out to a friend or family member every single day. My family of origin is unhealthy, but I have a chosen family. I have friends that I reach out to every single day. I speak with one person on the phone, sometimes 2. Number 8, have you done anything today that you enjoy? Number 9, did you do your hair and or makeup and are wearing clothes that you like? That's important. I'm a big studier of Marie Kondo's The Secret Magic of Tidying Up. She also has a Netflix show, The Little Japanese Woman. So she says the reason to keep an article of clothing is if you hold it, you have to touch every piece of clothing. And if it brings you joy, then keep it. I have this ratty old shirt. It's got like old hair dye stains on it. I cannot throw that thing out. It's gross. It's like really nasty. I don't even wear it anymore. Sometimes I would wear it to bed. Every time I hold it, it brings me joy. So I keep it. I don't know. Maybe one day it'll change, but whatever. Have you listened to some good music or a podcast or an audiobook recently? Have you been outside today or spent time with another person? Check. Have you meditated today or spent some time in silence? Okay, now I'm running out of time. One quick note on meditation. So it's kind of a woo-woo word, but it's been around for a long time. A long time. The word meditation, meditate on these things, meditate. So there's a misnomer that healthy meditation is clearing your brain. Look out for that. So in my training, a clearing out of your brain is a setup for disaster. The job and the goal of meditation is to fill our brains with truth. The goal of silence and meditation is to meditate, to fill yourself with something true and life-giving. There's a lot of meditational readings and truth that you need to hear about who you are, your value, affirmations. That's a form of meditation, to not just clear your brain. And so I'm sorry if I'm offending anyone that yields themselves to that practice, but there's a lot of danger in clearing your mind because it can open you to get it filled up with something else if you're not filling it with something healthy and truthful and helpful. Okay, so when I talk about meditating or spending time in silence, it's to be filled with truth, affirmations, positive things that can really aid in well-being. So I have one more slide after this, but I do want to say thank you for coming. Thank you for taking time. Thank you for all the volunteers who came to set up, bring things, donate your resources. I am just so grateful for people that believe in me, that believe in the voice of Grace Revealed. Are there any other questions or comments on today? If you have one nugget you want to share that resonated with you.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
You said a couple of minutes ago or something about making amends for forgiving people. What do you do if they don't even want to listen?
So the question is, if we want to make amends with someone, what do we do if they don't even want to listen?
Yeah, I mean, if you wronged somebody or you did something wrong and you want to make amends for it, and they don't, like, well, they either hate you, they don't care about it no more, or they don't want to. It's out of their past, so hey, we'll just be done with it.
So, did everybody hear the question? So, one of the things that comes to mind in my journey, so ventured through some 12-step work, and what I've come to know to be true is that amends are not for the other person, they're only for us. Amends are, and this is my experience, to clear the air between us and God. And so the joy of, if that person's still alive, because there's people that are not even alive that have hurt you, okay? My answer to what I would do if I want to make amends with someone that won't, even if I make it as easy for them as possible, and what's a day that works for you, and make it convenient, and say, hey, I just, you want, and they're just like, block you on Facebook. I heard that's a thing. Forgiveness. Is write a letter. Write a letter. Get your authentic apology out there on paper. And maybe get with someone that you trust, a friend, a partner, a therapist, and say, hey, would you fill in for this person? And can I just make this amends and just share your heart? Because then you get to be heard, and then it comes out. That pain or that forgiveness can come out. But that would just be one thing that I would offer as a tool that I would do for somebody that would be unwilling to talk to me. Yeah. Harry.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's okay for them to reject it. You're just making amends with the Lord, because what happens if we don't do the unforgiveness on our part, we don't do it for someone that's hurt us or we've hurt them, then God won't forgive us as we get sick. It won't heal. So that person just having a good time, enjoying life, and we're sitting there worried. So we're releasing their worry. So it's okay for them to reject it.
Thankfully, we have choice. As humans, we have free will, whether we want to, even if somebody did sit and they still didn't want to forgive you, that I applaud the courage and willingness to say, hey, I screwed up. Would you forgive me? Because that integrity goes a long way. That humility just goes a long way. And I've just seen it go a long way in relationships. Any other questions or thoughts? Comments before we close? Again, it'd be a great honor for me if you are good at, what's it called, social media? Oh my gosh, I prefer in-face friends. To stay connected. So I just put on there what's next. So what's next is to stay connected on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. If you go to the website, it's just, it's an outlet for the creativity that I have. There's a lot of writing, there's a lot of research, there's a lot that I've put into the website, gracerevealedllc.com. We have a 7-day calm challenge on the website. So I don't even remember how much it is, but you sign up for it and you get one video a day in the morning. It gets sent to your email. You watch it on your own. but you get like, you take time with it and you challenge yourself. It's a challenge because you have to do it for 7 days in a row. That's the point, is it's hard to like keep a practice, but it's, usually around 6 minutes or less is the video. So it's short. You can do it in less time to, you won't look at your phone. You have up to less than 8 minutes, right, to watch the video. You watch the video and then it gives you a challenge throughout the day, things to process, to have calm mind. So you can participate in the 7-day calm challenge. We have an upcoming workshop in October, the 24th. So it's something that you can think about coming to the next one. I'm not sure exactly what that theme will be. They're all based around self-care, but like I said, I really invest in not wasting your time, but really being more proactive at offering new tools, new solutions to the things that try to rob us of self-worth, self-value, self-care. And then lastly, to tell a friend and share, if you will. Just share that you came here today, just share about it. Again, I'm not really good at Facebook. And I'm not good at self-promotion. That's why I make an extra slide for it. So I just thank you all for being here. That wraps up our time. Thank you, George, for filming and making this a part to capture some of the things that I put a lot of time and effort into to continue to help people that weren't able to be here today. So thanks, everybody, and have a great rest of your Saturday.